Well, hello and welcome. Napoleon Hill's 17 Principles of Personal Achievement. The lesson number two is the Mastermind Alliance. The Mastermind principle consists of an alliance of two or more minds working in perfect harmony for the attainment of a common, definite objective. Success does not come without the cooperation of others. Talk Leadership with Cedrick starts right now. Well, hello and welcome to Talk Leadership with Cedrick. Everybody needs a little TLC. Talk Leadership with Cedrick is where we focus on leadership and personal growth with business leaders, educators, and local thought leaders. Our goal is to introduce our audience to leaders who are making an impact with innovative ideas. Our guiding leadership principle is the law of contribution, which says growing yourself enables you to grow others. See, you can't give what you don't have. So first, you must grow yourself in order to grow others. We believe that outstanding leaders like yourself will help us to grow others. So tonight we have three dynamic leaders with us. And every week I like to do a proper introduction of my guests. So allow me to properly introduce each one of these young men. So we have first Mr. Kendrick Lynn. Welcome, Kendrick.
Hey, thanks for having me, Cedrick.
All right. Then we have Mr. Kerry Martin. Welcome, Kerry.
Thank you. I see you all.
And then we have Mr. Edward Garden II. Welcome.
Hello, Cedric.
All right. So let me tell you a little bit about each one of these individuals. So Kendrick Lynn was born in Fort Sill, Oklahoma, and grew up in Dallas, Texas. He served 23 honorable years in the United States Army and still believes it was one of the best individual decisions he has ever made. He is a proud son, brother, father, husband, and a father of six, and a grandfather of four. Let me say that again. He's a father of six children and a grandfather of four. Now that's talking about leaving a legacy right there. His personal mission is to get good at walking alongside people as their ally while helping them reveal the truths that will allow them to grow, thrive, and prosper in the shine of their own light. His mission is what led him to name his business Local Noon, which by definition is the time at which the sun is at its peak relative to any other point in time on earth. He is passionate about helping people see their light, see that their light is always shining, even when they think it is not. He is driven by what he calls the three L's. One, to experience more life. Two, to enjoy more liberty. And three, to create and leave behind more legacy. Now that's awesome. Our next guest is Mr. Kerry Martin. Kerry is a teacher, trainer, and coach with a passion for personal development and growth. Kerry has spent most of his career dedicated to the process of learning as an educator in a wide variety of educational institutions and organizations, including high school, colleges, and one of the top universities in the world. Kerry studied human psychology at the University of Aston in Birmingham, England, and completed his master's degree in human services, counseling, and life coaching at Liberty University. In his educational endeavors, Kerry has demonstrated a passion for understanding human behavior so he can better serve others. His fundamental belief as a believer of Jesus Christ is that all people were created on purpose, for a purpose. So now Kerry devotes his time using his education, his experience, and God's word to help people fulfill their purpose with excellence through his business, Achieve on Purpose. Kerry has been married to his wife, Fiona, for 14 years and is a father to a son and a daughter. While he values the titles of teacher, trainer, learning strategist, and coach, he most values being called a believer, a husband, and a father. So let's welcome Mr. Kerry Martin to the show. Next, we have Mr. Edward W. Garden II. Edward is a native of Montclair, New Jersey. He is a proud father of Edward W. Garden III. He graduated with a Bachelor of Arts degree in music from the University of South Carolina in 1998. Edward also earned his master's in education from New Jersey City University and a master's of education in educational leadership in 2003. Edward holds standard certifications from the state of New Jersey, the Department of Education, as a principal, a supervisor, and a music teacher. He also holds certificates of eligibility from New Jersey State, the state of New Jersey Department of Education as a school administrator and as a certified principal for the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Edward has over 20 years experience in education and has led staffs in preschool all the way up through high school. He completed the Dale Carnegie course in 2017, has been a member of Toastmasters since 2018, where he currently serves as Vice President of Education. And he's also a member of the John Maxwell team. He is a recent graduate of the Black Entrepreneurs Institute. He also serves as the advisor to the board of directors of Crowned International, which is a nonprofit organization which helps women achieve vision, purpose, and excellence. He is the president of Oracle Behavioral Solutions, which is a company that has a mission to add value to people and influence organizations to measure results through speaking, coaching, and training. His motto is, if I can help somebody, then my life shall not be in vain. So let's welcome Mr. Edward Garden II to the show.
Thank you, Cedrick.
All right. So, gentlemen, I'm excited to have you here on Talk Leadership with Cedrick tonight. And I just want to have a conversation with you. I know that you guys have a lot of things in common. You've been a part of, and we'll talk about this in a little bit, you've been part of the Black Entrepreneurs Institute boot camp. We'll talk about that. But before we do that, let's just start off. I know I read your bio, but tell me your story, right? So Kendrick, we'll start with you. Tell us more about yourself and your journey to what got you to where you are today.
Okay, thank you, Cedrick, and welcome, Edward and Kerry. I'm glad to be on with you today. So, as Cedrick said, I was born in Fort Sill, Oklahoma. My father was a Vietnam vet, but majority of all of my family is from Dallas, Texas. So, maybe about a year before my father got out of the Army, me and my mother moved back to Dallas. I'm a graduate of Skyline High School, which happens to be the very first magnet school in the country. I like to say I knew, if you're a basketball fan, I actually saw Larry Johnson walking the hallways. Can't say that I knew him, but he was definitely high school royalty at the high school. But from about the 10th grade, I knew that I wanted to join the Army. I didn't know how to articulate this back then, but I was always thinking about life in terms of who I wanted to be. And I looked at military service as an opportunity to do that. As much as I value education, at that time in my life, I was just done with school. So I did have a what do they call it? A gap year after I graduated high school, but not for good reasons. I got into a little trouble. So in the Army, we had this cadence that talks about going to war or going to jail. Well, that really means something to me, because I remember having to stand before a judge, and I was fortunate that because I was on what was called the delayed entry program, he looked at me and said, son, looks like you actually wanted to do something with your life, but you were the victim of yourself in idle time. And so I took that get out of jail free card. And, you know, I joined in 1991, and I never looked back. And so when I say it was the best decision that I ever made, I truly believe that. One of the things that I value is being well-rounded, right? Having a healthy worldview. And just the fact that I got away from my own, 6-block radius, in Oak Cliff in Dallas, Texas, and got to see parts of the world that I probably never would have seen. And to actually live amongst other people and experience other cultures, I learned that people are people, no matter where you go. Really, when you think about it, who doesn't like to be loved, right? Found that everywhere I went. Who doesn't like to be able to love? Found that everywhere I went. Who doesn't like to be cared for? I found that everywhere I went. So we may do things a little differently, but foundationally, we're all the same, and so from that, and after I retired in 2016, I was in a unique position where I didn't have to. I said 2014, I didn't have to go back to work right away, and so I took advantage of that opportunity to kind of sit on my porch and contemplate life. What did I want to continue to be as I continue to grow? Now I live across the street from an elementary school, and it's far enough away that I can enjoy the sounds of the kids playing on the playground, and not close enough for it to be annoying. But jokingly, I love to sit on my porch and just listen to the sounds of kids playing, because again, it's kind of like the old song. I think Whitney Houston did a rendition of it, but it kind of talks about children and their laughter, and how that reminds us how we used to be. Yeah. And that kind of keeps me grounded, because even with your own kids, one day the sound of the kids playing in your yard won't be your kids, know? And so it really gave me an opportunity to sit and reflect on life. Well, I used to be an instructor when I was in the military, and I always enjoyed being in front of a classroom. I like being able to help people. Teachers touch everybody's lives, and no matter what type of career or life they go on to live, at some point in time, they were impacted by a teacher. And I like being a part of that. And so I was a long time subscriber to Minute with Maxwell. I know, I believe it was Edwards bio. He mentioned being a part of the John Maxwell team. So am I. And I remember getting those Minute with Maxwell emails. And one day I decided to take them up on the offer and click on the button that says, hey, even you can become a coach, speaker, and trainer. And that was in 2016. So now I've been a part of the Maxwell team for almost 4 years. It'll be 4 years, December the 31st, if I remember right. So from that, I was thinking I was going to be out there in front of rooms and, training and speaking and coaching, which I do. But what happened was something that was unexpected. What I found was that I was on a growth journey that I didn't know I needed to take. And I can't imagine what my life would be like today in terms of my relationships, in terms of my mindset, just in terms of how I view life and how much more I enjoy life now, had I not joined. And it was mainly because of the people. And I know we're going to get to this later on, Cedrick, about the boot camp, but the people is what makes it all worth it. So I never even talk about how much money I've spent, because it doesn't matter. Every penny was worth it. So through the John Maxwell team is how I met you, Cedrick. And because of that, I was able to be in the boot camp with some other cohorts. And that's what led to me being here today.
Awesome. Well, thank you. So Edward, tell us a little bit about yourself as well.
Sure. For my journey is really influenced by family of educators. My mother is an educator for over 30 years in the urban school district, and my sister, who's an educator for 29 years, also in various urban districts. And as I was growing up, I saw them and the work that they were doing to influence their students in their various schools. And for me, I wanted to be a school leader. And with that, I knew that I had to be a teacher first. And I utilized my background in terms of my musical studies as I was growing up. And I went to the University of South Carolina and I got a music degree. And I graduated from the University of South Carolina. And my first job was as a band director at John F. Kennedy High School in Paterson, New Jersey. And I did that work there. And immediately, and throughout my life in high school and so forth, it was always about leadership, being a leader, and there's always opportunities to solve problems. So I was a part of a administrative situation at John F. Kennedy High School, was able to break down the large comprehensive high school into small learning communities. And I was a lead teacher for the Bravo Academy, which is a fine performing arts academy at John F. Kennedy High School. And after doing that for a total of 6 years as a teacher and lead teacher, that's when I transitioned to I'm in a school administrator, starting off as a vice principal at a charter school in Trenton, New Jersey, and then moving through various school districts, leading students and staff from preschool all the way through high school. And I just remember it, and I think about it every day. And on August 17, 2015, I got a knock on the door while I was in my office, and in comes in the human resources director as well as the school director. And they told me at that period of time that my position was being terminated. And I really didn't understand what was happening. I was successful as a school leader for the years in the past, and now my career hit a wall. And during that time period, I had to take some time to really reflect on what was happening. And I realized that I hit a wall in my career because I didn't have two people in my life. It was a coach and a mentor. And I learned the value of a coach, someone to really work with me and draw things that I already know out of me and put into action, but also having a mentor, someone that has run and was successful in terms of educational leadership that I can call and reach out to, that can share my experiences. And from that experience, it really changed my life, and really, God has a calling for me to be a teacher, then a school leader, but the calling became greater to actually become a coach and a mentor for other school leaders. And that is where the journey has taken me now. And that's why in August of 2019, I joined the John Maxwell team, went through the certification, and started a new life and this entrepreneur journey of actually coaching and mentoring aspiring as well as current school leaders. And it's been a great journey. And I'm so glad that I was obedient to the calling that God has placed in my life at this period of time and season. And it has been a blessing to others at this period of time. So I'm definitely grateful.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. So, Kerry, tell us a little bit more about yourself.
So my name is Kerry Martin. I was born in London, England, and lived in the UK for pretty much most of my life. So I was born to mother and father who originally came from Jamaica to the UK. So my heritage is Jamaican, very proud of it. And as I went through education in terms of primary school, high school, one of the things that I really noticed was that I had a real fascination about people and what made people tick. Why do people think the way they do? So when I got to the end of high school, I was thinking about my degree, and the natural fit seemed to be psychology. So initially I had in mind, I'm going to go on and become a clinical psychologist and work with people from a psychological perspective. Enjoyed my degree, met some great people. But as I went further in and I started to do some work with clinical psychology, I came to see that what was happening was that I needed to connect with people on a different level beyond just the clinical aspect. But who are they? What's their background? What makes them tick? What's their motivators? And I felt a little bit boxed in. So I continued to search and probe as to what I really wanted to do. So I thought about counseling. I did some mentoring, did a number of things in terms of youth ministry. But eventually I ended up going into high school. So I ended up teaching social sciences in high school. So psychology, sociology, health and social care. And I loved teaching what I was teaching. I loved those aha moments that the students, when they learn something new, something lights within them. That always drove me. But what I came to realize was that what really motivated me the most in my role as a teacher was actually when the lesson ended. It was when the students hang around at the end and they ask you questions about life. Because one of the things I like to do in my teaching is that while I have a curriculum, I love to give them personal analogies or personal stories just to help expound on what we're learning. And a number of them would stay back at the end, and we had conversations about, my upbringing, about life, about setting goals for themselves. And I found that it was those conversations that really gave me that enriched feeling. So I continued in education, and I'm still very much in education. I've taught at the college level, the university level. But the thing that really connected with me most was that conversation. Who are you? What's your purpose? What are you about? And as I transitioned towards the end of my time in the UK, I moved to Canada in 2012. And one of the things that was a challenge was that we came here, my wife and my two kids, with the expectations that we're going to continue our education career here in Canada. But for whatever reason, the cycles of employment and so on, there were just no teaching jobs at all. So then comes that point where you start to ask yourself, okay, what do I do? Because all of my resume was teaching. And if there's no teaching jobs, who are you? What do you offer? And at that point, I had to begin to really cultivate my resume and my skills, try different things, get involved in training, get involved in upscaling my own education in different areas, learn about business, learn about investment. So it was like a PhD in Kerry education. It was a new thing for me. And from that, it started to open my mind up more so to business. I identified with the fact that I love connecting with my students. I love connecting with what motivates them, what's their goals. And I wanted more of that feeling. I wanted to be able to have that as my everyday experience, that I wake up in the morning and I get that drive, I get that feeling. So I started looking at ways that I could do that. And it was at that point, I think 2013, I founded Achieve on Purpose with the idea of really focusing in on, let me hone my coaching skills to really focus more on that area. What then happened was, in a sense, a good thing, because things started to really kick off with my career, and doors that weren't open were suddenly opening. I got the chance to work in some great places. But what ended up happening was that the job became bigger, and then the focus on the business became smaller. Primarily because, I wanted to focus on taking care of my family and get the foundation right, and all of those things I don't regret whatsoever. But in the last couple of years, I got to the point where I'm like, okay, we have the foundation now. We've got things in place. Now it's time for me to start fulfilling my purpose. And the way I identify my own purpose is, in what ways do I impact others? And what are the things that light me up? Those are two big indicators. When I see somebody that's impacted by something I've done or something that I've said, that for me is an indicator of purpose. When I wake up and I have a conversation and I come away from that conversation energized, that again is an indicator of my purpose. So I tried some things, and I've done some online courses that I've sold online. I've done workshops and seminars and so on. But this year, I don't know what it was, and I'm not sure. I don't want to say it was the pandemic. I would even say at the beginning of the year with the death of Kobe Bryant. Just the fact that he was a man that's only a couple of years older than me, again with children, and in a moment, he was on his way supporting his kids, but in a moment, he'd passed away and everything had stopped. And it made me really think, okay, if this is the last year of my life, what's the legacy that I want to live? And one of the things that I've noticed was that I would start things and get distracted. I'd start things and get confused and then get discouraged. But I said to myself, this year, I need to really focus, and I need to execute, and I need to finish. So one of the things I love is getting involved in a group like this and just having conversations. And I find the teaching and the learning is so authentic when you're just in a room with others where you can do that. So I thought, you know what I'd love to do is to do a mastermind. But I thought, okay, I'm going to be strategic about this. Let me sit in on a mastermind. So I just went on Eventbrite and I found Edward. And Edward was hosting a mastermind and it was free. I was like, hey, no excuses. So I sat in on Edward's mastermind and it was just great. It was great just to converse. It was great to meet other people. But it really just gave me that sample of what I wanted to do more of. So when the mastermind ended, and we talked a bit about our goals and what we want to do in the future, I thought, okay, Edward would be a good person to connect with just to talk about what my next steps are. I think I need more accountability. I need someone to help sharpen me. Going back to what the Bible says about iron sharpening iron. And Edward, I know that he was still very much in the growth and development phase of his own coaching business. And then he said, I've come into contact with these guys. They're in the Black Entrepreneurs Institute. I'm really excited about it. Maybe you should think about it. Now, me being the analyst that I am, kind of sat and thought about it. And then I thought, let me just reach out. So I think I messaged Damien, just found him on Facebook, just asked a few questions. And Damien just kept on coming with question after question after question after question. It was just a constant back and forth. I was like, wow, he's giving me all this and it's free. I haven't paid a penny yet. Then I thought, let me reach out and see one of the other mentors. Let me see what they're really about. And I connected with you, Cedrick, and, we had a 30-minute quick conversation. And I just asked, is it better for me to get an individual coach to help me finish this process of getting my business up and running? Or what's really the benefit of the BEI? And what I loved about what Cedrick said was that he didn't give me a hard sell. There wasn't a sales pitch. He just told me, this is what we do. This is what we're about. This is where I feel we could add value. It's up to you. And it was kind of like, I wish you the best, or all the best for the future. And I came away feeling, okay, he didn't give me the hard sell. There's no follow-up call. But what that did for me, in addition to the messaging back and forth with Damien, was that it showed me that this wasn't just about money. This was about value. This was about really trying to tap into what I'm looking for. So I joined the BEI and haven't looked back since. And the business is starting to grow. It's still very much in its early phases, but I feel that momentum now. And that's certainly what I'm grateful for.
Awesome. So we're going to go through, I'm going to ask a series of questions, just kind of ask round robin type things. And so one of the things I'm excited about is that all three of you gentlemen are in this leadership development growth mindset space, right? That kind of sets the stage for everything that you do, not only in your business, but with people around you, right? You're about up-leveling other people. So Edward, I know that you are, your business is Oracle Behavioral Solutions, correct? All right. And so
Correct.
Just tell me real quickly, what's the vision for Oracle Business Solution, Behavioral Solutions?
Yes. So the vision for Oracle Behavioral Solutions is to help aspiring and current principals improve their communication leadership skills so they can get better results. And that is the focus at this point time, and also the area and the group of people that we are definitely working to support so that they can get better results with their teachers and also for their students.
So you're looking to grow other principals or people
Yes.
that are aspiring to be principals.
Correct. Yes.
Awesome. Absolutely love that. And Kendrick, Local Noon. So tell us, what's the mission for Local Noon?
So Cedrick, the mission of Local Noon is I'm driven to help people, groups, teams, organizations grow and prosper. And you mentioned earlier that I want to help them do that in the shine of their own light. And so my mission is to help them raise their level of awareness about themselves and what they are capable of, and so again, you can't improve what you're not aware of. So what I want to do is be their ally, and I want to help them grow professionally and personally.
And then Kerry for Achieve on Purpose. I like that. Achieve on purpose, not by mistake. You're going to be intentional with this. I absolutely love that. So the mission well, I'm not even asking your mission. The value proposition for Achieve on Purpose is what?
Achieve on Purpose is based on a dual mandate. And first, it's the idea that all of us are not here by accident. We're here for a specific purpose. And there's no accident about us being here in 2020. We have a reason for being here. The sad tragedy, though, is that most people either don't know their purpose or they don't know how to actually deploy it. So part of Achieve on Purpose is really helping people to define with specificity what they're meant to do based on their characteristics, based on their skills, what they've been exposed to, what are they meant to do. Then the second element of it is really focused on being absolutely intentional. It's the idea that success is not accidental. There is a purpose, there's a direction, there's a strategy. And part of what I'm trying to do with people is to, one, identify that purpose, but then, okay, now we've identified it, let's strategically see how we can deploy you into a position where you can actually be someone of influence. So I do that through education, through training, through coaching, whether that's one-on-one or whether that's in groups. But I think particularly for me, the group that I really am passionate about is those that are just finishing high school and university. A lot of the students that I work with, they get to the end and they graduate and they're like, okay, cool. Everything's been mapped out. What next? Because they go through elementary school, they go through high school, then high school, they go to university, but then no one prepares them for what are you now going to do with the skills and the experience and the expertise you've developed. So that's the space that I really want to work with, is those that are now about to start life, where thinking about your finances, thinking about your career, thinking about relationships, thinking about starting a family. How do we really analyze who you are and then get you ready to be someone of impact according to the purpose you have?
Awesome. So you, all three of you guys went through the Black Entrepreneurs Institute 8-week boot camp. And so what I want to get from you is, so tell me, I know, Kerry, you kind of told me, how you came about getting into the joining the boot camp, but tell us, each person, tell us one thing that you got from the boot camp that you're using today. And we can start with Edward.
So one thing that I learned from being a part of the boot camp is about how to be a better salesperson. So coming into education, I never really had to think about sales. You're a principal, school leader, you have certain students are coming to the building. You do have to, in some situations, in charter school environments, do some recruitment and so forth. But in terms of actually selling myself as a coach, as a mentor, selling programs, I never experienced that. And by being a part of the Black Entrepreneurs Institute and the work of the founders and teachings around sales has been a great part of the investment. And definitely I saw a return even within the 8 weeks based on the teachings there about sales. So I am very grateful for that experience.
All right. And I'm going to let Kerry and Kendrick say something, but that sales boot camp is not just about, someone doing a teaching like Damien does the teaching on sales. That Thursday night we come back and now you got to put it into practice, right? So I want to talk a little bit about the simulation when you do that. Kendrick, tell us one thing you got out of the BEI boot camp.
Yeah, thank you, Cedrick. That is so true, Edward. That practical application from practitioners was helpful tremendously. But the biggest thing I got out of it was the importance of branding myself. So, I'm like you, Cedrick. I like things to just work, and when if it's not broke, don't fix it. Mm-hmm. But I was not actually putting myself at the forefront of my business. And so that's something that I have started doing. If you follow me, you'll notice I start posting more things with my business name on it versus just the things that I'm affiliated with. And so that has helped a lot because being in the boot camp, elevating your mind, your money, and your mindset, the elevating my mindset part has caused me to think differently about what it's going to take to actually build my business the way I want it. And so, yeah, branding myself has been huge. It's led to so many other things that I've been putting off.
Awesome. And Kerry?
I think the main thing is focus. It's just to, keeping the main thing. And I think one of the things that I have been susceptible to has been, I think, what we described as FOMO, fear of missing out. And I think that's been a real distraction point for me over the years, that you see this offer and this opportunity, and you feel like you've got to just grab a bit of everything, and in the end you grab nothing. So I think just to really keep focused on, I think we talked about the analogy of really just focusing on the trunk of the tree, and then from the trunk everything can spread outwards, whereas I was often so focused, I want to do this, I want to do this. But I think having that focus, and even just in some of the conversations we have, that the conversations are very directed. What do you mean by this, and what do you plan to do? So I think that really has been the biggest impact for me.
Yeah. So that's awesome, guys. I like that. Sales, experience, and knowledge, branding yourself, and then being focused and highly intentional. So let's talk a little bit about that, the simulation, the sales simulation or the negotiation simulation, right? So tell me, what was the scary is not the best word, but that's the only thing I could think of when you first hear, okay, I'm gonna do a simulation on this. So tell me, what was the scary part of that, or the intriguing part to you on that? We'll start with Kerry.
I think is one thing being in a simulation with another one of the BEI members who are also learning, but it's when you're in a simulation with a mentor who actually has a business, who does this for a living. You're like, okay, it's like going one-on-one with LeBron. It's just like, okay, how do I do this? I'm not used to this. So I think that was the thing. And I think it's not always knowing exactly what to expect. It's not scripted. So while it's a dance, it's not a dance where everyone knows the steps. So I think it's that idea of having to be responsive and flexible. But I think because it's that way, it really initiates you into thinking about the whole sales and negotiation process from a 360 perspective. Because you go into the simulation thinking, okay, what if this happens? What if they respond that way? And I think that was a really good experience, because in the real business world, that's what's going to happen. You're not going to be given a script. So I think just that opportunity to really be immersed into that, it was a little bit intimidating at first, but because it was intimidating, you feel a greater sense of victory at the end of it, that you've got something meaningful from the experience.
Sure, absolutely. Love that. Kendrick.
Yeah, thanks, Cedrick. I would say that what I mentioned earlier, that practical application from practitioners, and like you, Kerry, I was paired with another basketball reference, one of the bad boys of the group, and inside joke, I'd still love to sell you a leadership game if you take it. But one of the things that I learned is that I had a gap, between selling, negotiating, and closing. And I realized, again, elevating my mindset, that was something I need to go back and look at as far as my closing skills went. And it did bring me to the realization that I had never actually studied closing before. So it really, really helped me when we were doing the role playing and the feedback. Now, the feedback that we got, because everybody, I was fortunate enough to do mine in front of everybody. And it was with Damien, and it was phenomenal. And you know how much Damien loves sales, so he was good at being the difficult.
He didn't make it easy.
He didn't make it easy. His words, if I were to get close to the screen, he didn't make it easy. So, but no, I got so much value out of that, and again, it has helped me. It has helped me tremendously in my business.
Awesome. And Edward?
Yes. So I think around both application sessions around the sales and negotiations, for me, it's about the self-awareness. When you're starting a business, you're giving products away and services for complimentary, just trying to get your name out there. And then when I learned through the boot camp about my value, what I'm worth, what are the products and programs worth, then when you get in a situation where you're actually selling the products and you have this value, for me, I didn't want to budge on the price at all. And I was really focused on this is the price and I'm not going any lower because I know my value. And so it was a great experience for self-awareness and also about preparation. And when you're having a sales conversation and going to negotiations, the preparation that needs to go through it. And what I love about Black Entrepreneurs Institute and also the cohort members is that it's a safe environment. I'd rather go through the experience in this environment before I get out there in terms of the public and so forth and have these challenges. This is the training ground. And with the Black Entrepreneurs Institute and our cohort members and family members have created this safe environment for us to learn and grow. And then when we leave there, to go out and be successful.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I like all three of your answers, but what I like what you just said, Edward, is the safe environment, right? A breeding ground for you to fail, make mistakes, stumble, but know it's safe and it's okay. Nobody's there to judge you, right? And then it gives you that confidence. So now when you go in front of that customer, in your mind, you're going through, I've already been through this before. Here's how I'm going to handle this, right? And not as afraid. And when entrepreneurs first get into business, they want to have someone do business with them so much they give it all away, and they give them and they diminish their value, right?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I love that. One of the things that I like about the boot camp is the camaraderie that it builds, right? So let's talk about that because you end up developing relationships with other people that you might not ever otherwise have met, right? So talk about that boot camp experience in terms of connections that you meet with other people, and I'm not sure all the connections you guys made, but just talk about your experience in that area. Kendrick, why don't you take the lead on that?
Oh, absolutely. And when you said camaraderie, I'm always thinking family. I think one of the first posts I made in our private group was how we had that family vibe going on. And what I mean is that there's everybody there cares about everybody else. Everybody there wants everybody to win, and everybody's there to provide support for whatever it is you're going through. And through all of that, I would say other connections. I would be remiss if I didn't talk about Angela, who's another one of the founding members for the BEI. And being able to establish a level of trust, a level of rapport, and just a friendship with her, and increase my value with her, to the point that where she would invite me on a project, which is a major project. It's a city level project as a coach. And through that, I'm able now to add value to other people. And, I sit here now and I look at my wall, a client that I obtained through that program was appreciative enough to actually send me something, unexpectedly. And it's hanging on my wall now. And so just the idea of people not only adding value, but like I think, Edward, you said you want to help, grow other principles. So going beyond adding value and multiplying value is one of the things that I believe BEI has done for me.
Well, that's awesome. Well, thank you for saying that. And you're absolutely right that Angela has reached out and that connection, that it's all about relationships in everything that you do, right?
Yes.
So that's awesome. Kerry?
I think what I love is that we're all on a journey, and we may be in different lanes, but we're all moving. And what's really been great about that is the fact that I don't feel as though there's any form of competition. We all have our own space, and what's been great is, and I can speak certainly for myself and Edward, just sharing ideas, just bouncing ideas off each other. And have you tried this? Or I came across this. This maybe could work for you. And I think just having that experience just made me realize that just doing a business on your own can be extremely lonely. And that sense of isolation can often, in some ways, amplify some of the fears and the anxieties and the worries that we have, because we're only bouncing those things among ourselves. Whereas I think that when we acknowledge the fact that there are others who are also on a journey and we're pulling each other, I think it just gives you that acceleration in what you're doing. And I also want to mention the fact that even with the founding members, each of you have experience and you've achieved business success. I love the fact that we can be in a session, and even within the founding members, you can still be challenging one another to do more. And again, it just kind of feels like, rather than you're our parents, it's like you're like a big brother, big sister kind of thing. So it's, again, that family thing that we're moving together, and it's just the 100% focus is on how can we all achieve success, which is great.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. So, Edward, I want to ask you a little bit different question here. So one of the things that we talk about during the boot camp is micro streams of revenue, right? Yes. And I know that after that training, you and I had some conversation around micro streams of revenue. So tell me how that training, or what did that training do for you in terms of preparation or thinking through your business?
Yes. So, making the transition from a school principal to starting my own business and coaching, you think about how are you going to make the income that you've had before as a school principal and continue to move forward. And when you're doing that, you're thinking about, all right, I'm going to have to charge this certain amount of money per session to equate to the salary they had. But it doesn't work that way. and you need to have multiple streams of income so that you're not pricing yourself out of the market for one of the things that you're focusing on in terms of your coaching or your speaking, but also the fact that you have a chance, a possibility of losing your mission and your vision of helping people, because you're all working towards about the money. The money is going to come, but you definitely need to have a main plan in terms of what you're doing, what you're charging, and your rates, but having those micro streams of income to be able to supplement, so it all comes together in terms of the income that you need to move forward, and also have income that's even greater than where you came from before. So it all works together. And if you don't know that and understand that, you can definitely make some poor decisions in this journey.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Kerry, if someone wanted to reach you, how could they reach you? If they wanted to come in and hire your business, how could they reach you?
So the main ways would be through my website, which is achieveonpurpose.com. Other than that, you can find me on Facebook, so Kerry Martin, and there's also an Achieve on Purpose page on Facebook as well. So by all means, you can message. Also, achieveonpurpose@gmail.com. Feel free to email, but whether through the website, through the Facebook page, or whether through email, any of those ways would be fine.
Okay, Achieve on Purpose. I absolutely love that name. So, Kendrick, if someone wanted to reach out to you, how would they find you?
Oh, thanks, Cedrick. So you can contact me via my website, www.localnoon.com, or I'm on social media. You can find me on Twitter at Kendrick S. Lynn. You can find me on Instagram at Kendrick Lynn, and you can also find me on Facebook at Kendrick S. Lynn. I'm easy to find. And luckily, my mother and father gave me a name that's fairly unique, as long as you spell it correctly.
Okay. All right. I like that. And Edward, what about yourself?
Yes. So if you're looking to reach out to me, you can find me on Facebook at Principal Edward Gordon. I'm also on Twitter at Principal Gordon. You can also email me directly at Coach EW Gordon, the number 2 at gmail.com, and give me a call at 973-220-5118. And I'm here to help you.
Awesome. And so Edward, I'll also start with you. You have any events coming up real soon that people can support?
Yes. As we get into the new year of 2021, on Saturday, January 9th at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, I'll be conducting a webinar. It's called the Vision Board Party. As you look towards 2021 and you have a vision for your life as well as the dreams, it's an opportunity to learn about the positive effects of putting together a vision board and setting goals and really think about your deeper desires. So I just encourage everyone to go to the link that's on this screen and sign up for the webinar on January 9th at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Awesome. And Kerry or Kendrick, do you guys have anything that's coming up that you would like to tell the audience about?
Yeah, so in January, I've got 2 programs that are going to be launching. So one is Get It Done, which is a coaching mastermind for men. And what we focus on is over a 5-week period, we get into a huddle, about no more than about 7 or 8 people at a time. And for 5 weeks, we work together, sharpen each other, and we specify a very, very clear goal that we want to achieve by the end of that 5 weeks. So we talk about the methodology of goal setting, but also each week there's a specific challenge. So again, you can find that on Achieve on Purpose / Get It Done. And then the second thing is I'm going to be running a program which I've just put together called Principles of Purposeful Productivity, or PPP. And the idea behind this is that over a number of training modules, some live coaching calls, and a one-on-one, you'll get the chance to really focus in on specific principles of productivity that will help you to move your goals forward. So a lot of the time, end of the year, everyone's on this New Year's resolution thing, and then by January 14th, it's done. So what we're looking forward to is to really look at some of the habits and the strategies that enable people to follow through. So again, you can have a look at that on achieveonpurpose.com/PPP.
Awesome. And Kendrick, what about yourself?
That's awesome, guys. I might have to sign up for those myself. But I do have something coming up. It's going to be called It's Grow Time. It's going to be coming up in January, and it's along the same premise. I really don't get into New Year's resolutions myself, but I know a lot of people do. And so to follow on with that mindset, and Kerry, you made me think about what I'm going to do in February called Feel the Burn. For the same reason, everybody starts their resolutions, especially with the gym. They get in there and after 2 or 3 weeks, the parking lot's empty, right? And so typically in life, sometimes we start things, it sounds like a great idea, but when we start to feel the burn, we kind of back away. So that's just to give you a hint. I'm working on the finishing touches. I should be launching that soon. But what I'm most excited about is something that I just created. And I'm kind of throwing you a loop a little bit, Cedric.
No, you're good.
But COVID and you, Kerry, and Edward can attest to this as educators, and especially you said you've done a lot of work with youth and their teachers and parents. That one thing that's been revealed is that the struggle to connect and communicate with our kids or our kids with our parents and teachers is real. And it's really been highlighted and put on the spotlight. And so like all of you, I love the behavioral assessment tools, the personality tools. I love to use DISC. And so if you don't mind, Cedric, one of the things that I would like to offer is a free tool, a free resource that people can go and download for free that they can use to help them better communicate with their students or kids. And you just quite simply go to www.localnoon.com/quick tips and download it. It's free, won't cost you anything. There's no obligation. But I really think that because I'm running a workshop right now called Creating Better Connection, and really relationships are at the root of just about every single challenge that we have. Cedric, you talk about it all the time. one is too small of a number to do anything significant. We need each other. And so if we can better communicate with each other, especially when we're talking about our youth, who are these are the leaders of the future, and so the leaders of tomorrow are already here. So we don't need to wait to start helping them. And so I just want to do what I can by providing this tool that will help them communicate and connect better.
Well, that is awesome. It's always great to have a good no charge tool. I want you to know he's not giving it to you for free. He's just giving it to you for no charge. There's a big difference. It's a high value item that is given to you at no charge. So we only have a few minutes here, so about 60 seconds each. Tell the audience why should they join the Black Entrepreneurs Boot Camp. We'll start with you, Edward.
Yes, you should join the Black Entrepreneurs Institute because you need a coach and a mentor to be successful. And this is a great organization to be a part of. Awesome. Kerry?
I would just say that similar to Edward, you need a coach and a mentor. In BEI, you get 4. So it's a good deal for sure.
Awesome. Kendrick?
Accountability. You mentioned it earlier, camaraderie, that family, but just being around other business owners. And I mentioned that before, practitioners, not just people talking at you, but people who are actually out there doing or have done the things that you may or may want to do, that are willing to sit and listen, be those mentors, be those teachers, be that ear, be that ally to help you get to where you want to be.
Awesome. Totally appreciate you guys coming on. And we're going to play a quick round before we go of Would You Rather. So, Kerry, would you rather have more money or more time?
Time.
All right. Kendrick, would you rather meet your great-grandparents or your great-grandkids?
My great-grandparents.
Great-grandparents. All right. And Edward, would you rather have world peace? No. Would you rather go skydiving or bungee jumping?
I'd rather go skydiving.
Yeah, skydiving. All right. Last one for each one of you. I'll start with you, Edward. Would you rather have $1 million in Amazon gift cards or $100,000 in real money?
$100,000 in real money.
All right. Kendrick, would you rather have free gas for 25 years or have your own dream car?
Free gas.
All right. And Kerry, would you rather be a ninja or be a pirate?
Wow. I'm going to say ninja.
You'd rather be a ninja. Okay. All right. I like that. So folks, here, let me tell you what. The Black Entrepreneurs Boot Camp is designed. It's an 8-week intensive boot camp. It's designed for any business owner. Don't get confused by the name Black, okay? By the word Black, okay? It's for anyone. We focus on Black entrepreneurs, but anyone can become a member of the Black Entrepreneurs Institute boot camp. And you're going to get things like laying a solid foundation. That's laying a solid foundation in your business, finding your niche, steps to creating your brand, moving the comma. That's helping you understand how to generate revenue, make extra streams of income in your business, getting the fundamentals of sales, the art of negotiations, understanding the pitfalls of entrepreneur success. And we ended with a session called FOMO, the fear of missing out. And I know you have a fear of missing out on things, and we help you with understanding that. And then we have a formal graduation. So reach out to us. You see our website right on the page, and I want you to click on that link, read all about it, join the next boot camp that starts January of 2021. I thank you very much, and I want you to remember, everybody needs a little TLC. Good night.